What's up? What's going on? I am sorry. Late by like 5 or so minutes, 6 minutes. Yeah, so hopefully you guys got to check out the link in the description. A brother named Kevin's Perspectives. So let's do our intros. Like, share, subscribe, hit that super chat, hit that like on the way in. Um, right? I know I'm hitting y'all upside the head back to back to back to back with videos. I am going to slow down. Um, it's just a lot to talk about, to be frank. Hopefully, like I said, y'all checked out the videos. Checked out the video in the description, right? The brother name is Kevin Perspective. My feed recommended the video, and I checked out his video. His perspective was actually really good, really good. But I went to go watch the whole thing, and yeah, it was stereotypical stuff that we've heard from black women, from sisters, right? Nothing, like none of that, nothing they said was new or surprising or overly intellectual. Um, your standard manifesting stuff, your standard aspirational stuff, right? Your standard stuff about needing affirmation during sex, being mentally, nothing new or revelatory or anything, right? Like, I mean, what's the comment? I'd rather be brave and fail than be stagnant and stuck. Nothing special. I watched the whole thing. For those of you that keep on calling me sadomasochist, y'all are right. Right? Y'all are right. Oh man, I didn't. The brother and this is not Kevin Samuels. It's a brother whose channel name is Kevin's Perspective, and he covered B Simone, Jess Hilarious, and Megan Brooks speaking about different topics. And I went and I watched the whole thing. So I watched his breakdown of a particular segment, and then I went and listened to the whole thing. I'm at work. I'm listening in. I listened to the whole hour plus of their show, and nothing necessarily new. Nothing. Yeah. Although what we did find out is B Simone hasn't had sex in like a year and a half, and Megan Brooks hasn't had sex in about 6 months. Anybody want to tell Mr. Z that he's wrong when I said these women be throwing temper tantrums in their late 20s, early 30s, and so they sit on their vagina and don't have sex? Y'all thought I was lying when I made that up? I told y'all. I'm not saying that some of these sisters are not out here wilding and giving it up to anyone. What I'm saying is, then they have a moment in time where they throw temper tantrums and don't do anything. And by the way, there's nothing wrong with a woman saying, you know what, I'm not gonna engage in sexual activity. Mr. Z doesn't actually have a problem with that. Actually, I applaud you for the discipline. But what's really going on is you're throwing a temper tantrum because you were giving it away for free, for nothing, for funs and thrills, right? Right? It was sexy time for any guy that you found arousing or appealing. And now, with air quotes, maturity, if that's what you want to call it, right? Trell acting a fool already. Trell said buns, no funds. Right? Now that you're on the other side of it, now this is when they start doing the whole, well, a man gotta have a 401k and he have to have this and he have to have that before I could even consider it. So you're trying to tell me now that you're a little bit more jaded in the world, now you got a couple more wrinkles, now you're a little bit angrier, now that you're a little bit more shady and everything like that, now men have to spend more on you for an angrier, more attitudinal, more confrontational person, right? That's what you're saying, right? Once again, y'all like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. Super chats will be read out loud, right? So that's what you're saying. And men in general, black men specifically, are supposed to sign up for this. And it's just, it was all the stereotypical talk about manifesting and positive outlooks. And there's a woman for you if you're not being like, and I'm paraphrasing, that's not exactly the words, but essentially there are people for you, for those of you that are not trying to like the way we talk about like this extreme aspirationalism is that if you're not extremely aspirational, then somehow you're immature. And when I say extreme, I mean like comically, like toxically, I'm still in their stuff, toxically aspirational, right? Like delusional aspirational. If you're not that, then somehow you like being in your lowly roach-like state. That's how we talk. Like, it's this weird like social Darwinism thing that's going on. And when I say we've adopted all of like white hyper-capitalist men's language, like we have, then you wonder why you single as hell. Because you got your concept of love from a white racist man from 50 years ago. I know you don't think you did though. Huh? I know you don't think you got it from them. I'm telling you, you got your ideas of love from an advertising exec. And a white screenwriter from 50, 40 years ago. And from some Disney writers from 30, 40, 50 years ago. And then you wonder why you single as hell. I'm just saying. And why you haven't had sex in a year and a half or 6 months for Megan Brooks, right? So the video that Kev covered, the segment that Kev covered was essentially about the women pretty much saying, you know, speaking about mental stimulation and how difficult it is, right? How difficult it is to have a real conversation with men. Now let's pause right here. I'm going to try not to use profanity, right? We're in the place now where women, black women, women, I'm going to say that one more time. Women are speaking about being mentally stimulated and speaking about deep stuff and how men don't know how to communicate. I want y'all to be very clear. Black women are telling black men that we're not being mentally stimulating. Holy crap. What's being mentally stimulating? Going back and forth about your insane aspirations? What's being mentally stimulating, right? Talking about a bunch of consumerist stuff, what we would do if we win the lottery. We all didn't engage in that conversation. If I win the lottery, I'll do this. You want me to talk about that every day, all day? Right? Or you want me to do like that? Y'all ever been around that cousin that's like a super hustler and every time you meet him, he's always acting like he's on the move and he's doing this. He got like 18 businesses and da-da-da. Women love that. They fall head over heels for that. For the dude that look like he always on the move. And a few of them really do be always on the move. There's a few brothers that they really look like they always on the move because they're always on the move and they always chasing after every dollar. There are real dudes like that. But most dudes, generally speaking, not just black, are lying. And I mean, even the ones making money are fronting like they're making even more money. Or they're scamming. And I mean legal and illegal scamming. Right? That fake CEO boss talk stuff. Women fall for that because all they see is the dollar signs. So that's what you mean by mentally stimulating? Right? And then, you know, this is the Megan Brooks talking about just be normal. Normal by defined by who? I guess it would be defined by you. What do you mean by being normal? Just be a friend. Okay, let me say this to ladies real quick. You know why men, adult men, not in our younger 20s, not in our teens, but adult men, 27, 28, 30 plus, you know why we're not friends with women? Because y'all take it for granted. Y'all dump all of y'all emotional crap on us, and you know what we get? The friend zone. You're getting masculinity on a cheap. We're not doing that when we're adults. So I'm not gonna get the vagina, and you're gonna tell me about the other dude, and you're gonna cry to me about your mommy issues and your daddy issues and your issues with your siblings, and I get a church hug from you? Oh no, just be a friend? Nah, no. Nope. Nope. There is no man-woman friend after the age of like 25. Right? There is no man-woman friend after the age of 25, 27. Because a lot of these guys, maybe not all, I would argue most, but maybe not all, have been burnt by women. Dump all that emotionally intelligent stuff that y'all keep talking, y'all dump on men. All of your emotional stuff, and you know what those guys get? A church hug. Right? And he's a good friend. Y'all damn near put him in the gay friend category. That's the friend zone guy. Men don't want to be the friend zone guy, ladies. And even Jess Hilarious, Megan Brooks, and B. Simone admitted, yeah, there's essentially they admit, that, not even essentially, let's scratch that. They said it. There's the guys that they know would do anything for them, and they're chasing after the other dudes. Y'all are attracted to them. That's okay. Could we admit that we're attracted to these things that are toxic and not good for us, and it hurts us, and then we're mad at ourselves? You tried to make something work with a person you knew it wasn't going to work with, and then when it doesn't work, you're mad at the world. But for black women, they don't be mad at the world, they be mad at black men. Why can't you just be what I want you to be? Why can't I break you? When I said that last video, y'all thought I was making that up? Why can't you just let me domesticate you? There's this other guy that really likes me and he'd do anything for me, but I'm not sexually attracted to him. I'm sexually attracted to you, so why can't you just do what I want you to do? I'm not making that up when I say these things. Mr. Z done dated. Mr. Z done been out here. Mr. Z done had these conversations with women, platonic friends and romantic friends. And more than that. Right? Excuse the background, excuse the background. I'm about to be on the expressway in a minute, right? But yeah, that's one of the ladies' issues. So these ladies are talking, once again, nothing new necessarily. And I did see that super chat. Give me a second. I will get to it once I get to a red light, but I'm about to jump on the expressway. So that's going to be a few minutes from now. But yeah, so, you know, we have to be honest about that. Ladies, you're attracted to what you're attracted to, but when it doesn't work, that's not men's fault. Right? I want to say that again. When it doesn't work, it's not men's fault. It's not black men's fault that you're attracted to what you're attracted to and it doesn't work. And then on top of that, the mentally stimulating talk. I'm not going to engage in your delusional manifest talk and then let you drone on about that for hours and titillate you with a bunch of fake hustle talk and aspirational talk. And then you call that mentally stimulating because you can smell the money coming from me that you hope I make. Right? And that's what a lot of that is. I just want us to start having a more honest conversation. You know, just they didn't necessarily say anything necessarily mean or negative about men per se, but that bar is pretty damn low, right? Or is it pretty damn high? Black women be saying so much misandrous stuff, they gotta damn dare be neo-Nazis for us to be like, oh, okay, yeah. Oh yeah, she don't mess with black men. The misandry just spills out so casually, they damn near have to be Hitler goose-stepping before we're like, whoa, okay. Yeah, this is worse than usual. Right? But yeah, so the manifest talk and the aspirational talk and like the brother said, when you speak about having real conversations, deep conversations, and the ladies were saying that they don't really talk to men. Ladies, do y'all understand like how self-centered y'all are? You understand when men finally get a hold of their sexual urges, we're not easy anymore. You get men easy when we're both young and we don't really have control of our sexual urges like that. When we have control of our sexual urges, on the other side of like 25, 27, maybe 30, you don't get us to just blink. We'll do anything. We'll drive 3 counties out just to let you just drone on about your issues for the off chance we might get some vagina from you. Yeah, no. Now that I've never done, but I know people that have done it. I live in Dade County. They've driven to Orlando for off chance vagina. So for those of you that don't know what I mean, they've driven from South Florida to Central Florida for off chance. That's 2.5, 3 hour drive for off chance vagina. Right? And that's the issue that we have. Like, so many women want that treatment all the time. And no one ever tells them, Jess Hilarious was honest when she was like, she apparently she was on a show a couple years ago and she hasn't been on a show for years after that, right? And she was talking about how the guy that she's currently, I guess, not dating or she's seeing or something like that, he what she found stimulating about him is like, essentially he made her the center of his universe. And when you're courting someone as a man, that's understandable. I get it, whatever, right? But she was saying like, she's been so defensive about not having been on a show, a sitcom or anything like that for 4 years or whatnot. And when he initially asked her about the show, she was defensive. And he had to like lower her guard, and then they got into the conversation about, and hopefully you guys can hear me because I'm going somewhere with this. And he had to get her to lower her guard, and they were speaking about how that's so emotionally intelligent of a man and so mature. And I found that interesting that women get to enter relationships or situationships essentially being traumatized children, and it's men's job to speak around that and disarm them. And then we're deemed emotionally intelligent and mature. So you get to be immature and we have to be extra mature to be deemed mature. Right? We have to ignore your immaturity to be deemed mature. And she admitted that she was defensive. Ladies, you're defensive all the time. Some of you haven't even been through any real experiences. You're still defensive. Right? You're still defensive. So you speak about men's emotional intelligence and you don't understand why so many men aren't engaging in relationships with you and why they only want you for your bodies. You're admitting that you're entering these situations defensive as hell. Oh, I forgot. It's a real man to lower your defenses, Right? By ignoring you, speaking to him crazy, being insulting to men in general, black men specifically, discounting masculinity, right? Wanting masculinity on the cheap or a discount, right? Like Megan Brooks said, just be a friend. No. Now, don't get it misconstrued. There are men, including Mr. Z, that are friends with women that we are not having sex with. And sometimes it's not even that we don't find them attractive. It's just like, it's just you're okay with that friendship. But for the most part, no. Because you're getting masculinity on the cheap. Why would we be friends with you when you, like I said, you get to emotionally dump, you get to do all of these things, and we get what from that? Air quotes friend? Y'all realize most of the guys y'all put in friend zones, y'all know they want y'all, right? Women like to act like they don't know, but they know. And they keep those guys in friend zones and use them as emotional tampons. Nah. It's so insulting. I know you want more than this, but you will not get it. But I am going to keep you in the friend zone. I will drop little crumbs. Sometimes Sometimes I'll gaslight you. Sometimes I'll pretend like it could be something more than this. No. What adult man with a penis that's heterosexual is going to sign up for that? For the most part. Right? For the most part. So it was interesting listening to the brother Kevin's perspective. Really, I loved his perspective, especially, and I really want to stick to this point. The intellectual conversation, the stimulating conversations, and the brother gave a prime example. I love this example of like, what do you necessarily mean when you say that? Right? What do you mean when you say that? What do you find intellectually stimulating? Because we can speak about politics, history, geopolitics, economics, which is a social science, right? Yes, economics is a social science, right? We could talk about what's going on in the world. We could talk about Putin right now and whatnot, right? We could talk about Brazil and Lula and Bolsonaro. We could talk about Xi in China. Do y'all even know these people's names? Right? We could talk about Trudeau in Canada. Right? We could talk about the assassination of Shinzo Abe. Ladies, when you talk about intellectual, is that what you're talking about? Right? Okay, you want to talk about ancient Egypt. How deep do you want to go? Right? Are you ancient alien shallow? Right? Or do you want to just talk about the pyramids? You don't want to talk about the pyramids in Central America? Or what about the ones where they said off the coast of China? Or what about the ones in India? Right? When you talk about intellectual, what do you mean? You want to talk about politics in America? Do you even know the difference between legislative, judicial, and executive? Do you? Right? Lower house, upper house? No? No? Okay. So what do you mean by intellectual? What do you mean by stimulating? Right? What do you mean by that? Because that's just it's just another way of like beating up on black men. And I know the sisters probably don't think that's what they were engaging in. It's another, y'all are not on my level talk. And as a matter of fact, Megan Brooks was engaging in that a lot. Essentially, she was like, if y'all niggas want to stay on y'all lowly level, I don't want nothing to do with that. Y'all are comfortable over there. I don't want nothing to do with that. You roaches. And no, she didn't say those words. No, she didn't. That was the sentiment, though. I'm constantly building and moving and man. Y'all don't get tired of that fake aspirational talk? I mean, these ladies are really making those type of moves. But so many women speak like that, whether they're making the moves or not. And then the hyper consumerism and materialism. To watch Jess Hilarious, because Jess Hilarious gave a little bit of her story, how she spent a few months, without power, in the struggle when she was in Baltimore, right? And now she just bought an estate, and the way B. Simone lit up when Jess Hilarious said estate, right? The way they were speaking about estate, and I'm like, right? Because you know what that looked like, and all the thousands, the tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of the hundreds of thousands of people that are watching them, women mainly, watching them, they get turned on by that type of talk, right? And then that's what passes off as like inspirational talk, right? That's what gets passed off as, intellectually stimulating. That's why I was speaking about that hustle culture talk earlier. Because that's what they find intellectually stimulating. Yeah, I'm about to move this money over here, then move this money over there, then I'm gonna go try to buy this and then flip that like this. Bro, we know those people, bro. We all know those people, especially the brothers. We all know them, right? That's intellectually stimulating. That's why y'all be falling for them schemes all the time. That's why y'all be in them pimping ass pastors' churches too. I wasn't supposed to say that, right? I definitely wasn't supposed to say that. Why aren't there any men in the church, black men in the church? Because we don't like feeling like we getting pimped. That's why. Right? Trell Bentley said, I wasted year 19 and 20 doing that friend zone-ish. Bro, we all done been there. I've been there. Big Kev says, mentally stimulating quotes equal cat pandering babble. Bruh. Cat pandering babble. Exactly. Right? And thanks for the super chat, bro. Thank you, Kev. Right? I'm just listening to the ladies talk. They're not saying anything that we don't hear all the time. I guess these are just more accomplished women saying the same thing that you will hear at any black hair salon in the country. Right? They got into the soulmate talk, true soulmate talk, right? Let me just kill everybody of this. Most of us ain't gonna meet the soulmate. That doesn't mean you're not gonna fall in love. That doesn't mean that you're not gonna find somebody that you live forever. But that soulmate talk, that Disney-esque idea of soulmate talk, oh, y'all, stop. Please, for the love of God. That's half the reason why y'all don't end up in great situations. Because you're looking for Disney-esque soulmate stuff. Right? And what exactly would a soulmate entail? Here go the ladies rolling out their scrolls. Man. I'm listening to women. I'm listening to Megan Brooks talk about, yeah, it feels good to, we just went and got a hotel and not a spot in Manhattan. We just flew out and we flew all our friends out and da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, okay, that's great. All right, that's cool. And like, that's living. I hear you. I'm not even going to play that down. But like, that's when we start talking about what a lot of these sisters are talking about and women in general are talking about, that's what we're talking. That's what I'm saying. That aspirationalism, and like anything short of that is what they deem settling. Right? Anything short of talking about things like that is what they deem as like not intellectually stimulating. Right? And hopefully you guys can still hear me. Right? This thing is so ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Oh yeah, and by the way, shout out. I'm actually gonna make a video for all the brothers that's like sending cash apps, but it's like I don't ever read my cash apps out loud because obviously I'm getting it like the notification comes to my phone, but I'm on with you guys, so like I don't see who sends it until after the fact. So yeah, I'm gonna like spin the beginning of a video and just list off everyone. I do remember Aquateki sent something earlier today, so thank you, Aquateki. Right? Toya said, heaven forbid y'all have voices. Right? And they got into the conversation of family without intimacy, which is like essentially like the new definition of family, where it's not a nuclear family, it's father and mother parenting without being in the relationship with each other. Because Jess Hilarious was given like her kind of situation with her child's father, with her son's father, and the women lit up and they loved it, right? Right. And let me make sure I say the quote that kind of triggered the video, which is, a conversation is the hardest thing to have, no substance. Jess Hilarious said that, right? A conversation is is the hardest thing to have with niggas. Really though? And then once again, what type of men? Who are you attracted to? What type of men? And then Jess Hilarious has to understand, now that you're in that kind of economic realm that you're in, and you're talking to normal around the way dudes, what do you think? Right? Especially if they're not giving you all that aspirational talk. Of course you're gonna find it not stimulating. Right? No substance. What do you mean by substance? What do you mean by that? Right? And there was something that and I actually, you know what? And I should have tied this. Let's rewind a few minutes. Now, Megan said something I actually agree with. I don't think she ever considered it for women though. Megan said access without relationships is what a lot of people are looking for. Now, she really meant men and sexually, right? Because she actually did say it, which is essentially men want women's bodies without the relationship, right? The access without the relationship. Ladies, here's something to consider. What does a woman look like when she wants access from a man without the relationship? I can't believe I didn't lead with this. This is very important, right? Once again, like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. Super chats will be read out loud. What does women wanting access without relationship look like? Maybe wanting access to his money without the relationship. Maybe wanting access to his time without the relationship. Wanting access to his mental and emotional state without the relationship. This is where friend zone comes in. Oh, y'all didn't think about that, did you? When you put a man in the friend zone, you're doing access without the relationship, ladies. When you know he likes you, you know he wants to be in a relationship with you, but you're gassing him and you put him in the friend zone, and then you try to because there's guys that have gotten out of the friend zone and women talk crazy about them. That's you saying, I want the access to you without the relationship. I want your emotional and mental stability. I want your time. I want to call on you when I have a flat tire. Right? I want to use you as an emotional tampon. I want to bounce ideas off of you. I want to talk about the other guy on the phone with you. I just don't want to be in a relationship with you. That's access without the relationship, Miss Megan. Have you ever considered that? Right? So I'm just reading some of the stuff out. Yeah, because I wrote a couple of notes down when I had the time. Right? Megan also said something like, when Jess Hilarious was speaking about her, her struggles financially in the beginning, right? When she went 3 months without, electricity and whatnot. And Megan said something interesting. She said, a lot of women would have just bowed out and go get a 9 to 5 or something like that. And I thought to myself how frightening that comment was. And you hear this oftentimes from those like hyper entrepreneurial types or those creatives, how they poo poo like 9 to 5 people, right? How they talk down to them like you're weak. You're truly a slave, right? Jada Kiss said that on a song. And I know you rappers have a bunch of throwaway lines, right? Right? If you don't work for yourself, you're truly a slave. And like those entrepreneurial types and the creatives, they say things like that all the time. Especially the ones that like start to make some real money. Yeah, don't forget, B Simone was the one that the day after she hit $1 million was telling you how she couldn't be with a 9 to 5 dude. Right? We're always punching down to working class people, particularly working class men. We're always, even more particularly, working class black men. Oh, we punch down to them. All these people, y'all are always punching down. Men punch down. Straight men punch down. Straight black men punch down. We've been hearing that for, I don't know what, the better part of half a decade. Right? In so much of our society, all we do is beat up on working class men, especially working class black men. And it's always the B. Simone, Megan Brooks, all the way up to the Oprah types. All they do is punch down the working class black men. We don't use the same type of language as them, right? We're not aspirational enough. We're not emotionally intelligent enough. We don't dress well enough. Bruh. It'd be so annoying. And it's not just, I had these different type of dreams or aspirations or whatever. We're not even in the era. Y'all remember a lot of the civil rights, the brothers and sisters that were in entertainment during the civil rights movement, how they spoke up on us positively. Now we're in the era where they speak down to us. These black creatives, these black entrepreneurial types, all they ever do is speak down to working class black people, particularly working class black men. Or you okay with that 9 to 5? You okay with it? So you just want to be stagnant? So you just want to be stable? Huh? You ain't trying to come out here and make these meals. Why you ain't working, 40 hours a week and then doing your little side hustle and then got another side hustle and another side hustle and another side hustle? Right? Yeah, it's not just the brothers talking like that. Yeah, the sisters are talking like that too. Neoliberal talk. Right? When I say y'all got a bunch of y'all ideas from some economist, the Milton Friedmans of the world, I know what I'm saying. I know what I'm saying. You got your concepts of aspiration from Milton Friedman and them and the Chicago boys and them. You got your concepts of love and what it should look like from some writers, mostly white writers. Now y'all poo-pooing stability because it's not good enough. And then wonder why the hell you're single and haven't had sex in a year and a half, B. Simone. And Megan and over what because she was like, so I'm thinking 6 months at least. I don't think it's 6 weeks. That's not notable. Right? This is where we are now. These people are weird, bro. You want to talk about mentally stimulating? If I had Megan, B. Simone, and Jess Hilarious in front of me right now, they would try to take my head off. They couldn't listen to all this naysayer talk, right? All this depressing talk, all this negative talk, right? That particular video would be Simone and them. What I think I saw it have like 300 and something thousand. This particular video would be Simone, um, Megan, and Jess Hilarious. Some 300 and something thousand views. You know it's mainly women, probably younger women, listening to them. And those same women are in the dating scene. Those same women are mostly single. And you wonder why y'all can't have us as black men can't have a conversation with these women. I told y'all I clicked their thumbnails. This is all they listen to, bro. This manifest talk, this aspirational talk, makeup stuff, divester swirler stuff. This is why they always getting caught up in some hustle. Right? I remember Tone Talks interviewed, what is his name? It was a white, what is his name? It's an economist. Not Thomas Piketty. Thomas, oh, what is his name? His face is right there. It's a white guy. I want to say he's a professor too. Jesus Christ. It wasn't Thomas Piketty. It was another, oh, damn it. Tone Talks interviewed this guy, and he's a professor, and there was a part of it, and he sounded a little somber when Tone was speaking to him. And he said he's essentially, let me sum it up. Essentially, it'd be black girls in his class, black women, young women in his class that sound insanely aspirational, and they ask it like because they don't want to believe like the mechanisms in our society are what they are, that they try to like maneuver, like they try to get him to like sound more positive. Right? Oh, God, why can't I remember? It was years ago, years and years ago. It was probably one of Tone Talk's more one of his first interviews, right? God, I'm beating myself for not remembering his name, and his face is there. Anyway, but yeah, and that was sad for me to hear, because I remember when what was it? What era was that? When so many women, I remember it was a park I was working at, and they had an event for one of these things that kind of fell off recently, and it was a couple of brothers, but it was mainly women coming for this event, like this kind of money making scheme event. And I just remember being, no, it wasn't Dr. Sandy. Sandy is black. It wasn't Dr. Sandy Darity. Yeah, right. It's a white guy. It's a white guy. Kind of middle-aged, a little bit older white guy, right? And thank you, diaspora. But yeah, so, and it was kind of sad listening to them to say that. And you understand what I'm saying, people. College people, women in college, many of them are going to graduate college, right? They're in class with a white man that's trying to this white man is trying to temper them. Now they're in college, so they're on the road for, maybe a better life. And it's a white man that's trying to bring them back. Hey, chill out. You sound a little too crazy with this aspirational talk. And it's the women trying to push him by trying, what about this? And when we start business like that, and what about if we do this? If the white man can't even get you off the aspirationalism, I don't know who can. If your own white professor's like, I don't know. Right? How many times do we have to say like 60% of Americans can't afford $1,000 emergency? And then we got B. Simone and Jess Hilarious and Megan Brooks talking the way they talk. right? Look, if y'all would have saw it, how how Megan and B Simone like lit up when Jess Hilarious said, "Oh yeah, I bought an estate," and B Simone said, "Wait, wait, wait." She said estate, right? And like the way they lit up, and I get it, right? I'm a car head, I get it, right? A GTR pull up right now, you know, we like, oh crap, a GTR Supra pull up, we like, oh crap, I get it, right? But the way they lit up, I'm like, oh man, bro, this is gonna be a rough go at it. Trail Bentley again. Trail Bentley said, land no man. Right? And like, I want y'all to understand because my subscribers, y'all know, Mr. Z works some 65 hours a week at minimum. Like I said on a previous video, over the past 2 weeks, I am I have worked 145 hours. It's a most people, if you work 32 hours a week, that means you work 65 hours bi-weekly. If you work 80 hours, I mean 40 hours a week, that means you work 80 hours bi-weekly. Over the past 2 weeks, I've worked 145 hours. Right? Am I getting good sleep? Of course not. That's besides the point. But right? So it's not that Mr. Z doesn't have things that he worked towards, right? I had to get my credit good. I had to work. I had to save to a certain extent to get the Z, right? Like Mr. Z is not against that. Y'all, my subscribers know like I'm almost always recording in the car because I'm going to work or coming from work. I'm in the car right now because I just came from work, right? I haven't went inside yet. My girl's probably gonna take my head off because she knows that I'm recording right now, right? But I'm not against, working hard. I'm not even against you got a little bit of money, you're willing to gamble it by starting something. You and a friend put your money together, y'all try to start something and see what shake, what can happen. Mr. Z is not against that. And I want to be clear that because I know sometimes it comes off maybe like I am against entrepreneurship. I'm not. I'm against us turning that into a religion and then talking down to 9 to 5 people. I'm against us poo-pooing that. I'm against black people. Listen to me again. Black people in America, of all people, talking crazy to everyday 9 to 5 people on some weird high horse class thing. What? Talking to regular 9 to 5 black people like, oh, y'all okay with y'all position? Are y'all crazy? We just got out of Jim Crow 50 years ago. And y'all talking crazy to 9 to 5 people, normal everyday black Americans, especially the black men. And then you want black men to do, shout out to Black Uru, work themselves to death so he could just be a picture at best in the living room, Papa in the living room. So that life insurance could go to paying off the house that the grandkids are going to tear up anyway or sell. Listening to these ladies talk, like I said, reminds me of every hair salon I've ever sat in as a kid when my mom would go and I would be stuck there for a couple of hours and I didn't hear. I mean, obviously, this is a couple decades from that, but it's just a new, more modern iteration of the hair salon. Just black women droning on about aspirations, and what type of man they can't settle for, right? And what turns them on, right? And how men aren't showing up like this. And of course, B Simone has to take a shot about how, and they all do it, right? How women have done faked orgasms. They had that conversation, of course. Yo, you think men don't fake? Ladies, you think men don't fake in sex? Either you don't care or you've never considered it. Or both. What, you think men don't be faking during sex? Y'all think all of y'all give good head? And all of y'all have good vagina? Oh, you never thought about it before, huh? You think all of you give good head? Right? Do y'all know that's just like y'all be thinking about another dude sometimes? You think men don't be thinking about another woman sometimes? Ladies, this is, I don't know, like we didn't turn this into a sport. The talking down to black men, the because be so like these men need to know, right? And then Megan Brooks with her comment about you gotta introduce yourself to my body first. Bruh. Right? They touched on all of it. The soulmate talk, the manifesting talk, the I rather be brave and fail than stagnant and stuck. That's Darwinism talk and aspirationalism, of course. Right? Megan saying just be normal once again. By whose definition? Do you understand? Like normal is like one of the most vaguest words in the English language. That might be one of the most vague words in the English language. Not vaguest. I don't think that's a word. But one of the most vague words in the English language is normal. What does that even mean? Trill, I can't take you, Trill. Trill said the aspiration for mediocre fellatio. Bro, right? And I just want, like, it's interesting because I think a lot of sisters think they consider what we're saying, but they really don't. They really don't. And nothing in our society outside of the fact that there aren't as many black men as there are black women, nothing really puts them in the position to consider what black men are saying. As a matter of fact, just about everything in society kind of pushes them not to consider it. Right? And I'm not, like I said earlier in the video, if y'all didn't hear me, they didn't necessarily, because the bar is so damn high, they didn't say anything necessarily bad. But once again, that bar is so damn high because how crazy black women talk about black men, right? But at the same, just listening to the sisters talk, like I said, all the weirdo aspirational stuff, and you know what that looks like. I mean, I've said it before, and like B Simone proved it in her commentary. Megan Brooks proved it in her speaking also, which is Megan apparently haven't had sex for some 6 months maybe. She could have be about to say 6 weeks, but that wouldn't count. So let's say, maybe 6 months, and then B Simone hasn't had sex for, it was really like a year and 4 months, she said. So let's round up and say a year and a half. Right? I've said that before. Both of them, I think, are around 32 years old, like that early 30s. I've said it before. 30 to 32 years old, something like that. I told y'all late 20s, early 30s, didn't I? I wasn't pulling that out of my rear end. Once again, the index's gonna expose us all. No, it's really that we're gonna expose ourselves. A lot of this is so supremely predictable, especially now that we coalesce in the black manosphere and we just be like, yeah, we know what she gonna say. We know what she gonna say. We know what she gonna say. Aspirational talk, sitting on your vagina, not having sex, then the other homegirl be having a whole lot of sex. She having sex for all of y'all. Right? The manifest talk, the hyper materialism, hyper consumerism, right? Solipsism, right? Vernon King. Vernon said, tapping your feet, tapping your foot on your toes to pretend the head is good, bro. And they both of them, not both of them, all three of the ladies spoke about how they pretended, And Jess Hilarious said she know how to shake her leg and pretend, and I'm like, I'm listening, and I'm like, but ladies, you think men don't pretend? Or is it that you just don't care that they're men pretend and there are men that pretend? And if you don't, then I mean that's okay. You can say that. You can say you don't care, and we can have that conversation. But it's so like, and I think it's because in the black community we come from a base of like women are more morally superior to men, and so like women consider your feelings, and so they fake during sex to not disappoint you and to make you not feel like a man. But then men fake during sex too because we don't want to disappoint you and make you feel less of a woman and that you're not sexy and that we don't find you attractive anymore, right? I mean, and I think I'm going to end out with this. The mentally stimulating talk, once again, ladies, right? The two things I really want to stick to is the access without relationship. Once again, Miss Megan, men are not the only ones trying to get women on the cheap. Women are trying to get men on the cheap too. And when you speak about the access without relationships, think about all the guys that you've ever put in the friend zone. That's what you were engaging in, ma'am. As a matter of fact, your own statement about just be my friend, why do men gotta act weird, right? Is you, whether you realize it or not, is you asking for the access without relationship. Why would we be your friend if the vagina is not on the table and all you're gonna do is talk to us about your emotional problems, some other guy, your mommy daddy issues, and how some other woman ate ish? You're asking a man to be your emotional tampon without the vagina being on the table. Access without the relationship. You didn't even consider that you contradicted yourself. Bruh. You didn't even consider what a man would. Wait a minute, she said access without the relationship, but she just said something about why can't men be normal? Why can't, just be a friend? Why? Be a friend so that you can just dump all of your emotional problems on us and we don't even get to have sex with you? Yeah, no. Nah, you can keep that. Right? And there are men that will engage in that with you, mainly gay men. That's why y'all are friends with them, by the way, let's be honest. And yes, there's a handful of straight men that will engage with that in that with you, and they don't even see you in that way. You don't have to worry about them feeling like they're in the friend zone. There are those guys. They're very hard to find, but there are a few. White, black, Latino, Asian. There's a few, right? But when you say access without the relationship, Miss Megan, once again, that's not a man thing. That's a human thing. Right? And women engage in that also. And you've never considered, why would a man want to be your friend and not have sexual access to you? You've never considered it. Right? And the other thing I wanted to make sure to stick to was a conversation is the hardest thing to have, no substance. So that's Jess Hilarious essentially saying the hardest thing to have is a conversation with black men, with black men particularly, right? And these men have no substance. Like I said earlier, when you say no substance, how far you want to go? What do you want to talk about? Because if we're just going to talk about how you want to be on a private jet one day, if you just want to talk about some aspirational stuff, and like the brother Kevin's perspective said, you just want to talk about being on the beach in Greece, right? And eating, Greek food, Greek cuisine. If that's what you find, right, intellectually stimulating or conversations of substance, nah. Now, if you want to talk about Greek mythology, as Kevin's perspective said, that's a different conversation. You want to talk about Greek city-states, right? Sparta, Athens, right? Macedon, that's a different conversation. The real story behind the Greeks and the Persians going to war, or how Rome was inspired by Greece, that's a different conversation. But if you just want to have the conversation about spending time on the beach and food, that's it. What do you mean substance? Right? Spainman asked, that B Simone, that's that that shed on MLK, yeah, that same B Simone. Yep, that same B Simone, Spainman. Yes. Toya said, where is it? Yep, Spainman. Yes. Yeah, that same B Simone. Right. Trell Bentley said one in the same. Yeah, that same B Simone. So, and Spainman replies, hell, MLK couldn't measure up to be esteemed by the community, so it's a wrap for the average man. If the world sees Martin Luther King as somewhat of a moral compass, and B Simone attempted to rip him down or tear him down, and these are the same people that are telling you about, intellectually stimulating conversation, mentally stimulating conversation, or how men are speaking with no substance, bruh, B Simone, you went after Martin Luther King, lady. You went after Martin Luther King. His own wife didn't talk about him the way you did. His own children haven't spoken about him the way you have. And you thought it was cool to go at Martin Luther King like he did something to you, like he cheated on you. First of all, we don't even know if the story was true. It came from the FBI that was trying to destroy his reputation. And even if it was true, okay, you're talking about a man that helped to liberate his people from Jim Crow laws. And you think him just getting a little side vagina was so egregious that 50 plus years later, a woman like you could talk crazy about him, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.? B. Simone, what do you think you're ever going to achieve in your life that's going to put you on Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s level? What do you ever think you're going to achieve ever? What do you think any one of us is ever going to achieve ever to put us on his level? And you had the ovaries and the gumption to go at Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. for maybe getting some side vagina. This man had been locked up, beat up, and was assassinated. Let's be very clear. Assassinated before the age of 40. He left a cataclysmic impact on the planet before the age of 40. I'm 36. I couldn't wipe his shoes. And B. Simone thought it was cool to go at Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And her video with Jess Hilarious has some 300 and something thousand views. Those are the women, y'all. Those are the women that want to talk about sheroes and not heroes. Those are the women, and some of the men, LGBTQ men mainly, that want to talk about Malcolm X being LGBTQ. Right? Those are the women that want to talk about how sexist the Black Panthers were, and how colorist they were, and how they were secretly just chasing after white women. Women like B. Simone, y'all. They don't miss an opportunity to talk about how black men aren't showing up, and black men are not emotionally intelligent enough, and black men don't want to make enough money, and black men are stagnant, and black men don't even got that much great of a sex game. That's all hype, and black men over and over and over and over again. If Martin Luther King ain't good enough, then God damn it, I agree. I agree, Spain man. We could pack it. All the rest of us could pack it up. Dr. Martin Luther King is world renowned. Okay? World. Not just America, not just in the South in America, world. They're quoting Dr. Martin Luther King around the planet. He is the face of freedom around the planet. He is the face of morality around the planet. And B. Simone, one of his own tribe, a person that benefited from his legacy, had the gumption to go at him because he might have got some side vagina. If y'all don't understand the contempt these women have for black men yet, I mean, I just gave it to y'all over the past 5 minutes. Right? And then they wonder why they haven't had sex. B. Simone, you wonder why you haven't had sex in a year and a half. I'm just saying. Yeah, it's your choice. And yeah, if you put the vagina on the table, yeah, there's some dude that'll come through quick, fast, in a hurry. Both pun intended, by the way. Yeah. Middle pipe. It's interesting when, specifically for women, because men go through dry spells. And for many of us, It helps us to clear our mind and get our life right and get our mind right and come back out here. And you know what? I've changed. I understand maybe this thing wasn't working, or I was not a good person in this way. Women go through dry spells and then get mad at the world and think it has nothing to do with them, even if they're the ones who's taking themselves off the table. They never consider that maybe they're insufferable. And that's why you're not getting the type of man that you want. Because women could have sex. A man will pipe the worst woman on the planet. There is a bum out here, a woman bum, and some dude will pipe. Probably another bum. But even when they take the vagina off the table because they're mad they can't get the type of guy they want, or at least keep the type of guy they want, they never considered, have you ever considered that maybe you're insufferable? Maybe the type of guy that you think you deserve is not checking for a woman like you. You know, the type of woman that think it's okay to talk crazy about Dr. Martin Luther King on camera with all the contempt in the world and say he's not a good man. Once again, he's not a good man because maybe he cheated on Coretta. Maybe. And the source is the FBI, J. Edgar Hoover's FBI. Cross-dressing J. Edgar Hoover's FBI. A man who thought the greatest threat to America was a black messiah. J. Edgar Hoover. Yeah, that's your source. Alrighty then. I'm just saying. Right? Well, I didn't see your super chat earlier, Big Kev, my bad. Big Kev says, these are the same frames with 100 plus bodies. Let me see it. I'm just saying. Oh, look, man. I'm sorry to go so deep with, and kind of channel that just now, you guys. I don't want to beat up on B. Simone too much, right? But at the same time, lady, what can you do with the B. Simones of the world and the Megan Brooks of the world? The brothers that would help to shepherd them in a direction that's constructive even for their own life. I don't even know if they have them in their circle and if they could even handle having a brother like that around them. Right? That's when they get into you're mansplaining. Okay then. Just stay in your echo chamber of that manifest talk and, soulmate talk and all that toxic positivity. Stay in that echo chamber then. Right? Trell Bentley, you're the worst, bro. Trell Bentley said skeet no repeat. Right? Of course, Trell Bentley said confirmed bachelor J. Edgar Hoover. Yeah, of course he was a bachelor. Because he might have been, playing for the other team. And okay, I'm not even okay. That is what it is. I don't even care about his sexuality. What I care about is what he did to black people. And how he went after black people. And how he tried to blackmail Martin Luther King. And they tried to blackmail Malcolm X too, by the way. Right? And that's the source that B. Simone decided to use. And let's say, even if Martin Luther King cheated on Coretta Scott, and she understood that the mission was bigger than that, and you, who benefited from the mission 50 years later, you're talking crazy about Martin Luther King. Because why? You've benefited from Martin Luther King, and you thought it was okay to talk crazy about Dr. Martin Luther King when no one can hold a candle to him. Who in America can hold a candle to Dr. Martin Luther King? Who? 50 years later, who? What, a couple of brothers from the Black Panther Party and Malcolm? Medgar Evers, right? Baldwin? Who else? Who else? Who else is even on that pantheon from that era on forward? I'm not talking about 50s and later. From about the mid 50s, 60s onward to now, who can hold a candle? Who's even on that level? That's our Mount Olympus. Who's on that level? I'll wait. Who's on that level? Like I said, Malcolm, Baldwin. Who else you got? Fred Hampton, Medgar Evers. Who else? Right? Huey. Who else? They don't have the notoriety of Malcolm. I mean, excuse me, of Martin. But if we take the notoriety away, who else? Who? You be Simone? Right? Marcus Garvey's too old. Right? Shout out to you, Detroit. Detroit says, shout out to Red Supreme TV, but B Simone, Michi X, Vicky Dillard are hell out of line when they spoke those black leaders like that, unlike Taz. Yeah. Fleece Johnson, Trell Bentley. Man, look, yeah. And if I'm not mistaken, I think when B Simone said that, wasn't it Megan Brooks that was sitting next to her too when she said that, and you didn't try to reel her back? I think she said that on that. It wasn't on that same episode, but on that same show. Megan, you didn't try to reel her back. Did you at least say something to her after the show? You didn't. I would have reeled her back right then and there. I wouldn't even reel her back. I would have got on her right then and there. Right? Quaj said, Khalid Muhammad, maybe, but that's even that's a reach. You see? We're gonna have to, for us to name anyone, we're gonna be reaching. Like Fantastic, Mr. Fantastic reaching. Right? And B. Simone thought it was cool to talk crazy about Martin Luther, excuse me, notice I'm saying his whole name, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Because I'm showing him the respect that she didn't. And Megan, you sat there and let her do it. And then y'all wonder why y'all single. Y'all want a man to watch y'all talk like that and eat that. And you wonder why you're single. Sisters like B. Simone and Megan want, because okay, let's say I'm not with B. Simone, me and Megan in a relationship. You want me to we're all at dinner. Megan wants me to watch B. Simone say that and then let her say that? Because ain't no reeling back. I don't even want to say online what I would be on. I'm not even gonna say what I would be on after she said something like that. And y'all wonder why y'all single. or why y'all have horrible relationships with men, or why it's only one, why you can only be around one type of man. What type of soft ass man would let B Simone say that and then eat that? In a relationship with her or not. B Simone, we on camera, I'm checking that instantly. We at home, I'm checking that instantly. We on a comedy show, I'm checking that instantly. There are figures that are beyond reproach in the black community, and Dr. Martin Luther King is like number one. And you want to y'all over here talking about emotional maturity, bruh. Right? Say you want to be treated like a child with no responsibility or accountability on you. Right? Just say it. I want you to pander to me like I'm a child. I want you to ego stroke and placate me like I'm a child. I want you to play down all the insane things I might say or do like I'm a child. Right? So I'll truly pause right here, y'all. I know I said that earlier. Um, like I said, look, this talk was classic hair salon talk. Nothing too crazy. Shout out to the brother Kevin's perspective. Um, the mental stimulation talk, blah. I'll end out with that. The 2 points, the two main points that I wanted to stress: access without relationship, which came from Megan Brooks. I mean, literally, that's what women are asking for. Also, I mean, literally, you spoke about just be a friend. Why? Access without the relationship. You want access to my emotional state and my mental state, and to be a an emotional pillar without the relationship, the sexual relationship. Yeah, no, you could keep that, right? You don't get my masculinity on discount. I'm sorry. Um, and then Jess Hilarious with a conversation is the hardest thing to have with these niggas. No substance. Um, yeah, not true if you're speaking to a certain type of black man, regardless of his socioeconomic position. Yeah, but unfortunately, that's not where you ladies are. You swear you are because all y'all do all day is talk aspirational talk, and you think that's, a conversation of substance. If we start talking about yachts and expensive cars and big houses and traveling, and because that's conversation of substance. But we talk about politics and Trump and Biden and DeSantis and no, right? We talk about Kanye's mental state, no, right? Right? How many of y'all even know about Greg Abbott and DeSantis' stunt? You see, what do you mean by substance? Do you even understand what's going on with the repeal of Roe versus Wade? When you say substance, what do you mean? Exactly. And then the last part, which I remembered later, B Simone talking. Yeah, so anyway, so I will pause right there. Y'all have a good rest of y'all night. Love, peace, and chicken grease. And yeah, Mr. Z out. Thank you for being here. Yeah, y'all. I'm sorry to go so deep earlier with the B Simone thing. Um, y'all could thank Trell Bentley and Spain Man for that one, and Toyo for that one. Cause I had forgotten the MLK thing. I did forget it. And then I looked down and saw y'all comment. I was like, okay, so now Mr. Z got to go on his rant because I don't know who B Simone thinks she is, talking about Dr. Martin Luther King like that, right? And the fact that she think, yeah, I'm gonna be on Art's panel probably. Yes, um, yeah. So but I said that last night. I thought I was gonna be on Nameless, and if Nameless listens in, if I see him later, Nameless, I fell the hell to sleep. I made myself something to drink, and I fell asleep on that couch like probably minutes before I clicked onto your stream. I told him I was gonna go take a shower and everything, and I did. I took a shower, I ate, and made myself something to drink, and bruh, I was out. I woke up later on in the morning with my girl telling me she going to work. I am so sorry. My intentions were to go on to Nameless's panel last night, and it did not happen. What I caught was some Z's, and not the cars, right? All right, y'all. Y'all have a good rest of y'all night. I should be going on to Art's panel. Hopefully, what happened last night doesn't happen tonight, but we'll see. All right, y'all. Truly, y'all have a good rest of y'all night. Mr. Z out. I'll pause right there.